tifu by not knowing the meaning of bibliophile, by user stop177013. So I met this girl, right, super sweet and everything. She tells me she's a bibliophile and I'm like thinking great, all those years of Bible study can be put into use now. So it's our second date, I brought my fucking Bible. No laughing, okay. So I bring my Bible and I don't take it out yet, was waiting for the right moment. So then she leans in for a kiss and then I recite goddamn Peter 4:8. She laughs really hard and to my surprise continues, so I'm like OMG great, she likes this. Then I start reciting Samuel 12:24. So I go, only fear the Lord and serve him faithfully. Oh, I can't remember, 1 second. I pull out the Bible and start frantically flipping through and she's laughing her head off at this point. I look at her confused and she explained to me that bibliophile did not mean what I thought it did. I am blushing so hard then and she's like dying from laughing. Well, she found it cute that I tried to amuse her and asked when she could see me again. Well, at least I scored that night, hee. TLDR, misunderstood a girl and started reciting her Bible verses on the second date. Edit, those of you who are questioning my religion, please stop. I went to Bible study as a child and have grown to be more spiritual than religious. As for those of you who are thinking about YTF I would quote the Bible in such a timing, well, I thought it would be amusing and she would like that I have knowledge of her interests. Also, we were kinda drunk on both dates. TIFU by ignoring an headache, and getting entire ER to be locked down, by user Black Cat on Acid. Well, not actually today, more like 7 years ago. The day started pretty normal. I had a day off from work and a full schedule on how to get the best out of it. The plan was to do all the boring stuff that I had to take care of right in the morning, seeing my girlfriend for a bit after that, and then in the evening to go to my first ever live soccer game with friends. I'm not a soccer fan, but I never been to a big event like that and was super excited about it. So I started the day by going to dentist in the morning, had a broken teeth from hitting myself by mistake with a piece of iron, but that's a story for a different tifu. Right after the dentist I noticed my head starting to hurt. I linked it to the dentist visit and didn't think about it much. But as the day passed the pain got stronger and stronger, and by the time I saw my girlfriend I was in a extreme pain, but I didn't want to miss the event that I was so excited about and thought my friends will see a headache as a lame excuse for bailing. So I took a shower. I remember feeling the water hitting my head and it felt like knives dropping on my head, drank like 5 cups of coffee and took more painkillers than I can remember and headed out. By the time we got to game the pain was intolerable. I walked from the car to the stadium and my vision was blurry and every sound felt like someone is pushing screwdriver through my ear. When we got to the entrance I told them I'm in too much pain and gonna rest in the car and they should head in. From here my memory is kind of fuzzy. One of them called me just as the game began to see if I'm going to join them. I don't remember how the call went, but I probably sounded horrible because, to my luck, he decided to leave everything and take me to the hospital ASAP. When we arrived at the hospital I was already passing out 2 minutes at a time and suffered a lot when awake, but for some reason the doctor at the ER decided to give me ibuprofen and wait. The friend who took me there said something like, I know him for a long time and if he is acting this way, ibuprofen won't do anything to him. He meant that my tolerance for pain is high and I won't react that way for something ibuprofen could fix. But the doctor interpretation for that was completely different. Seeing 2 dudes in the middle of the night, obviously from a poor neighborhood, so it is probably drugs. So the doctor wanted a urine test to check for drugs, and by that time I couldn't control my body or barely move, let alone pee on command. The doctor ego was hurt from me refusing to give urine test. Mind you, I was so out at this point that all I'm writing from here is based on what my friend and mom, got there when she heard, told me. So the night passed, lots of people coming and going from the ER, doctors, nurses, cleaning crews, patients, and the doctor still refused to check on me until I give urine test. Then my mom suggested they should just insert catheter and do the test, and they did, and for the doctor's surprise I was clean. That's when they started running tests on me like crazy and got to the conclusion it was meningitis. Well, apparently there are 2 prime reasons for meningitis: viruses or bacteria, and because I didn't showed any head trauma there was no reason to suspect bacteria. The bacteria needs a way to get inside your head, and because I worked as a contract worker at the border there was every reason to suspect a wild virus, so the decision was made and the ER went into lockdown. Nobody could go in or out. They located everyone that was in the ER at the same time as me and already left to let them know they cannot leave their homes or come in contact with anyone, and as I said, the doctor refused the check on me for a lot of time, so many people already passed through the ER. Remember, that was pre-COVID, nobody was in a situation like this before. People were freaking out, nurses bursted into tears fighting on who will take blood from me or give me in for. Full terror mode was in the ER when patients who wanted to get out were fighting with doctors and security. It took few hours for the test results to come back and free everyone. I woke up like 2 days after, could barely move from pain but still couldn't stop laughing my ass off as I heard that. Just realized I didn't explain how it was bacteria after all. Well, I had a brain surgery done on me like 5 years before that. The surgery was done completely through the nose and apparently the doctors who done the surgery did an amazing job but somehow didn't close the space between the inside of my nose to me brain, leaving it exposed to bacteria. TLDR. I ignored headache until it was so severe I couldn't communicate. Doctors thought it was a wild virus and the entire ER went into lockdown for a few hours. Edit. Wow, went to bed, didn't expect to wake up to this at all. Thanks to everyone wishing me well, it's been a long time since and I'm perfectly fine. I got off really easy from my understanding of it. Worst permanent damage I have is tinnitus, which is rather easy comparing to other cases. I have to head out to work soon so I can't reply to everything, so I'll try to give more info to respond to some comments here. The first surgery happened when I was 13. This incident happened when I was 18. I'm 25 now. As to why I'm not upset with the first doctor leaving it open, I had a benign tumor in a very complicated area behind my eye and nose touching the brain, and as I said, I'm coming from pretty poor city, so following advice from a drive at local hospital I did the surgery in a pretty far city that had more money and of course better doctors. That meant that my mom couldn't afford being with me a lot of the time and I was alone, 13-year-old kid with no one to speak for me. Original plan was to have open head surgery to remove it. Fairly young drive, 30 plus, insisted and argued with most of the doctors he could do it through the nose, leaving me with much less damage and much easier recovery, and he did. He was super nice the all way and checked up on me constantly. I'm thankful for him and not holding any grudge towards him. As to why I refused to give urine sample, I didn't, I just couldn't. The doctor took it as me refusing. To anyone who think there is no way the ER went into lockdown over it, I live in a Middle Eastern country, all our borders with third world countries and one with Northern Africa. I'm not a medical expert and I honestly didn't do much research afterwards, but from what I understood they were fearing I caught something working on the border fence. They mentioned something about it killing villages in Africa. It could have been inexperienced decision as well. I'm honestly not an expert and have no idea as to why they responded the way they did, but the ER was definitely under lockdown. Doctors and nurses couldn't stop making fun of the mess I made coming in. As to why nurses were crying not wanting to take blood or give me info, well, apparently passed out me was an asshole who kept resisting, took out needles from my arm and got blood on one of the nurses. I don't think nurses here have much medical knowledge, and getting blood on you from a patient that just got the entire department into lockdown sound like extremely stressful position to be in. I saw few people sent me DMs. I have to go to work now, but I promise to answer when I get back. Edit 2. I don't know why I feel a urge proving myself to strangers online and kind of feel shame that I do. But anyway, here's a picture of some of my medical diagnosis. I can't provide any more proofs without exposing personal information. If I missed any personal info in the picture, please be nice and DM me ASAP. Uneasy face, pic. TIFU by laughing after a guy got his arm ripped off at work, by user idcoem456. Score warning. Well, this is gonna be a rough one. I'm still reeling from shock of this whole ordeal. I work in a factory with a large number of large machines and such, and on any one day we have numerous accidents, not due to equipment failure but more so the lack of attention put to the actual jobs themselves. So it's not unusual to see someone's hand ripped and bloody from accident my running it through the metal planer. But anyways, there's probably 12 guys on the night shift crew, which is the first mistake here. That number is drastically low. It's an 8K SQFT factory and 12 guys including myself run it all and train new hires. Key detail. Well, tonight of all night we have 3 guys call out and I have to train a new hire, only having been there a month myself. Another fuck up. So we're horrendously understaffed for a system that runs incredibly fast, and on top of all that I have probably one of the most unaware and idiotic people I have ever met. When I tell you this guy would have probably eaten rock if I told him they tasted good, he would have. We get maybe an hour into the shift as I'm training him, and I work with a very large system of presses, metal presses with belts that run them. The belts are between 2100 and 3000 RPMs, so as we work he's helping me. I'm giving this guy the simplest tasks possible as to avoid an accident, fucking LOL. Then one of the supers comes in finally to give me a rundown, and in the 30 or so seconds we were talking this new hire walks over to the belts and I believe he tried to grab a piece of cloth or something behind it, failing to realize that the machine is running, and grabs this cloth. As he's pulling it out the cloth catches on the belt and rips his arm off, like clean tear right about mid-bicep. I immediately rip me belt off and wrap it as tight as I can around this dude's arm to stop him from bleeding out. We already wear gloves to do our jobs, so I wasn't worried about disease and such. I call code over the radios and everyone runs over. Now here's where the really fucked up part happens. All this guy could think about was gas prices. I'm gonna have to stop working and gas prices are gonna kill me. Well, this supervisor that I was talking to comes over, and he kicks the dude's now severed arm, and says, well, gas is really costing people an arm and a leg now. And at this point I'm so fucking nervous I just burst out laughing. I don't know what came over me, but I just started hysterically laughing. So I'm sitting there holding this dude's arm, belt around it and my feet on either side of the belt, pushing to get as much force on that artery as possible, laughing like a psycho, and lo and behold the plant manager comes around, absolutely pissed because he only heard me laughing, and walks around to that fucking scene. So I'm probably fucked. They sent everyone home on a paid day off. I'm in administrative leave until further notice. The guy made it to the hospital in okay condition, all thing considered, I was told. TLDR, my boss made a joke after a guy got his arm ripped off, and I laughed out of anxiety as the plant manager walked in on the whole mess. Edit. To those of you who are saying how does this keep happening, it's America. It happens daily, especially if OSHA investigations aren't kept up. People get paid off, and unless someone dies it doesn't get reported, and most accidents don't even get hospital visits, if that says anything. Edit 2. I will be filing a report with OSHA, and those saying I need to get out, although I don't like most of the guys I work with, I'll stay for 2 reasons. I have a fairly safe job, and if more shit like this happens while the report goes, they're gonna need someone to play medic. No? Edit 3. Whoever gave a deceased award. I like your style. No, the arm was not reattached. TIFU by making a morbid PSA for children, by user Hus_ler. Just had a flashback to a moment I suppressed 5 years ago. Up until my grade 11 high school year, my social skills were equivalent to that of a rubber doorstop. I had a history of bullying in my previous school, so socializing with anyone was difficult. Add the fact that it was an all-boys school, so attending a mixed school was quite the cultural shock. Anyways, it was English class, grade 10 aka first year at my new school, and we were asked to create a children anti-bullying PSA. Guys, I didn't have many friends in my old school, consequently I had no sense of what was socially acceptable. I didn't even know I'd have to share my PSA with the rest of the class for feedback later, which may or may not have prevented the foo and it why my head went there. But the second I got home, I searched suicide in Google Images and grabbed the most morbid picture I could fucking find. It was a girl hanging over a chair with a dead look on her face. Then I captioned the picture with, "The bullying thrill isn't worth the kill." I grabbed that PSA thinking I just created a masterpiece and raced to school. Then came feedback time. One by one everyone started presenting their PSA, and slowly but surely I started realizing how fucked up mine was. Every single person has cute little drawing with crying kids and friends supporting them, but I was the only person with a dead corpse staring at you. Jenny, who was sitting next to me, started engaging me in a conversation about how nervous she is about going up next. Bear in mind that this is our first interaction. She goes, "Let me see yours." Me, I haven't done mine. Her, BS, I literally saw you pull it out of your folder earlier, come on, it can't be worse than mine. Time stops. Inner thoughts, this girl is kinda cute and I've never talked to her until now. If I show her this shit, how fucking weird is she gonna think I am? On the other hand, maybe it really isn't that bad and I'm exaggerating. Time resumes. Me, here you go. She grabs the paper out of my hand and flips it around, her face instantly flushes. Internal thoughts, oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Her, reluctantly, it's a very good smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat. Teacher, OP, you look like you're ready with your PSA, you ready to go? Me, no. Teacher, great. Take it away. Class, laughs. Me, well, this is the PSA I created, puts up the PSA. Class, stops laughing. TLDR, wasn't socially mature in my high school years and ended up traumatizing my classmates. TIFU, went out with a girl who had a boyfriend, I did not know this at the time, had sex with her, now she wants to break up with him for me, I don't know what to do, by user stupider than a child. Some background, M24YEARS, I was at a small party, 25 man, of my best friend about 2 weeks ago. He has a girlfriend who I got to know over the years, we are just semi-friends if that makes sense. I invite her to my parties, she invites me to hers, but that's basically our entire text convo. So I was at this party, started talking to a girl named Sarah, not her real name. She was alone at the party, she was a close friend of my best friend's girlfriend. So nothing really happened at the party, we just talked and we clicked really well, got her Snapchat and number. I am more of a personally guy than a going for looks guy, so I was very interested in her. So we started chatting and hit it off even more. After a week or so I asked her if she wanted to get a drink sometime. She agreed, so the next day in the afternoon we went out. Remember, at this point I haven't asked if she is in a relationship, neither has she mentioned anything to me that she is in one. So the day arrives, I ask her if she needs a pickup. She says no, I have someone taking me there. So I go out with her, make some smooth jokes, she grabs my hand and stuff, yeah. So after drinking and having lunch for an hour and a half I had to go because I had an appointment for work. So we walked to the place where she would be picked up. This is where the beginning of the fuck up happens, and I should be seen the signs. So we walk back, she holds my hand and drags me into a side alleyway where we make out for about 5 minutes. So some information: the alleyway connects to the parking lot, but it's at an angle so you cannot look into the alleyway from the parking lot, if that makes sense. So I tell her I need to go, shall I walk with you to your lift? Sarah: no, hurry to your car and go to work, I had a great time with you. With a smile: my car is in another parking lot because I live on that side of the city. Later she texted me if I want to do something later in the week. I invite her over to my place for dinner and we had sex. After I ask her if she needs a ride home, she tells me no, someone is picking me up. I let her go and she tells me her lift is waiting around the corner. We make out and she leaves. So me, someone who hasn't had a girlfriend in 5 years, tells my best friend about this. I go over to his place to tell him this. He grabs me by my arm and tells me no, you know she has a boyfriend who's she's been with for 3 years. At this point my heart rate starts raising and my friend can see my shock. So I explain everything to him, show him the texts his girlfriend is with us because I don't know what to do. He doesn't know and calls in his girlfriend, who tells us Sarah recently has been talking to her about breaking up with her boyfriend of 3 years since a couple of days. I am someone who would never ever cheat on someone or with someone, so I feel awful and heartbroken. But this is not where it stops, because I felt so much anger and guilt towards Sarah. I walk outside of the room where my best friend and his girlfriend are and tell them I am calling her. They try to stop me. I go outside and call her. She picks up the phone and tells me wait, let me get someone more privately, so I know her boyfriend is there. I tell her everything. She starts crying and blaming it on me that I never asked if she was in a relationship, which is ridiculous. After some time talking we calm down and talk about it. We are explaining stuff to each other. Then she tells me she wants to break up with her boyfriend and be with me. My heart raises to the moon and I don't know what to do. I tell her please Sarah don't, and start yelling it over the phone. My friend and his girlfriend come in and see me hang up the phone. So that's where I am now. This happened today. I am heartbroken, sad, mad, everything, because I done something I could be never done if she just told me she had a boyfriend. She texts me still. I open them, then make them unwritten again. She tells me she is sorry and she really likes me and she doesn't know what to do, and still asks me if she needs to break up her boyfriend. And I don't know what to do now. After this my friend also told me it was probably her boyfriend who dropped her on both of her dates with me. Because she doesn't have a driver license. Which also explained why she didn't want me to take her to the car. TLDR, clicked with a girl on a party, went out with her, later that week asked her over to have dinner, didn't only have dinner. Also found out it was probably her boyfriend who dropped her off at both my place and the city where we went out. Now she wants to break up with her boyfriend for me. That is not how I morally work, so I am heartbroken, sad, mad and ghosting her. I did not know or ask beforehand if she was in a relationship.